y'all! Have you heard what everyone's talking about? Curriculum! Today I'm going to share with you a few tips on choosing curriculum. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kayla Perez. This is Ode to Abode, a place where I love to share about home education, homemaking, and parenthood. I am a second-generation homeschool mom to 2 girls in Texas. I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button so you can join the fun and click that notification bell so you'll be one of the first to know when I make a new video. So let's talk about choosing curriculum. But first, a quick disclaimer. We are now coming to the end of March 2021, and this is a time of year when a lot of homeschool families are planning for the next school year. They might be purchasing or at least picking out their curriculum. And so you might see lots of videos or posts about choosing curriculum. I just want you to know, if you're not there yet, if you can't even mentally make room for that yet, it's okay. Take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. You don't need to have everything figured out for next year right this second. And one more thing before we get into this. If this is your first year homeschooling, in my humble opinion, buying curriculum is really the last step that you should take when you're getting ready to homeschool for the first time. If you need more guidance, go check out a video I made called 5 Steps to Start Your Homeschool. That's a great place to start. Spoiler alert, curriculum is the last step. So watch that first and then you can come back to this one. Okay, so if you're still here, you are ready for some tips on choosing curriculum. The first tip that I have for you today is prioritize. For me in my homeschool, my priorities are going to be the core subjects. Start with the subjects that are most important. So to me, that's language arts, which includes like reading, writing, all of that kind of thing, and math. If I can get those 2 things down, if I can get language arts and math down, where I have curriculum that's really helping us to master those skills, everything else is just the cherry on top. So that's my first step. Prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. This is going to really help give you focus as you go and look for curriculum, and it'll also just help you not feel so guilty that you can't get all the pretty things, because there are a lot of pretty things for homeschooling and you don't need them all. In fact, you don't even need most of them. So start with what you know you need. My second tip is to try to narrow down your options as much as possible before you buy anything. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of curriculums and resources and learning toys and tools and printables. Like, it just goes on forever. Most of them are awesome and they're going to work for someone, but are they going to work for you? Are they going to work for your kids? So how can you narrow down? So maybe you already know that you are more drawn towards a Charlotte Mason or classical style, so you know that you want something literature based, or you want something that's more rich and rigorous academically. You might already know that your children learn best with hands-on material. And so you might look for curriculum that has manipulatives or games either included with it, or at least gives you suggestions on what additional things you can do with that curriculum. Maybe you have older kids and you're working part-time or full-time, and so you need curriculum that's going to allow them to do a lot of independent study. Write down all of these things. Make a list of all of the features that you really need to look for in curriculum, and this will help you to very quickly eliminate options that don't meet those criteria. During the time that you're looking at your criteria for curriculum, you might also want to look at some reference books. Both of these books are really good options for at least giving you an idea of what a typical child at that age or that particular grade level is learning about. Now, obviously, kids are unique individuals. They learn at different rates, they develop at different rates. You might have a child with learning differences or disabilities, So don't take these books as hard rules. And don't get discouraged if your child hasn't mastered everything in a particular grade level that they're supposed to. Use them more as just loose guides to help give you direction and purpose for your school year. The third step when you're choosing curriculum is to make a list for each of your children and for each subject. So I would have a list for my 7-year-old daughter. I'd put on there math, reading, writing, science, history, nature study, whatever the main subjects are that you want to make sure you cover, put those down. And then within each of those subjects, you can start to jot down curriculum, maybe 2 or 3 options that you've seen that you need to look into more. And as you start looking into those options more, make sure that you note the price, any additional things that that curriculum is going to require. So an example, the history curriculum that I've picked out for next year requires a particular historical encyclopedia as a reference guide. And so that is an additional cost on top of the curriculum. So make sure you're looking at the total cost. Do I need to buy additional books? Do I need to buy additional manipulatives? Jotting this information down will really help you, especially if you're trying to narrow it down between 2 or 3 options. Being able to compare and contrast the total expense involved or what is included with one versus the other will be really helpful as you make your final choice. You can also use this time to look through your shelves or your bins or your baskets for resources or books that you may already have. Maybe you already have some flashcards or books or learning games that have just been sitting collecting dust. Now would be a great time to take inventory, see if you can use or reuse anything that you already have on hand, or even declutter things that you have been holding on to and you realize you're not going to use. If you're like me and you follow a lot of homeschool accounts on Instagram, one feature that I really appreciate, especially this time of year, is the save feature on Instagram. I have created folders on my Instagram for each school subject. So I have one for geography, for history, for science. And anytime I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see a book or a curriculum or a resource that really catches my eye, I will save it in a folder for that particular subject. And then this time of year, when I'm looking to buy curriculum and pick curriculum, I can go back through those folders and see what I've saved over the past year, see if anything is going to work for us this year. Once you have your lists, this is going to really lend itself towards your homeschool budget if you would like to create a budget. I recently made a video on how we afford to homeschool, and I plan on making another video about budgeting for the year for homeschool very soon, so stay tuned for that. Once you have your lists, if there is anything on that list that you're like, yes, we are definitely going to buy this, this is what we want to use, and you can afford to buy it right now, go ahead and buy it. Personally, we are year-round homeschoolers, and so I am buying curriculum a little bit throughout the year. But this time of year is when I do the bulk of my curriculum planning and buying. You can definitely do it either way, where you buy all of your curriculum at once, or you can spread it out over the year, or you can do some combination of the two like I do. So there we have it, my 3 steps for picking curriculum. Start with what's necessary first, narrow down your options as much as possible, and make detailed lists so that you can compare and contrast curriculum and really make a solid plan for each of your kids. Now here's a bonus tip. When we're talking about picking curriculum, make sure you remember that even if you've put in a lot of effort and you've done a lot of research to pick out curriculum, there's no perfect curriculum. Try not to be too discouraged if you buy something and try it out and it just doesn't work for your family. That happens to all of us, even really experienced homeschoolers, and it's okay to let something go if it's just not working. Consider it a learning experience. Now you know what doesn't work and you can really look for a solution. Sometimes something works for a semester or a school year and then you go back to it the following year and you find that it's not working anymore. That happens too. At the end of the day, a lot of this is trial and error, and we're all just trying to find the best fits for our family. All right, I hope that these tips were helpful to y'all. Please let me know in the comments. Are you in your planning phase? Are you in your buying phase? Have you already bought and planned everything for the next school year? Or have you not even gotten to that point and you're just trying to finish this school year? That's okay too. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your time with me, and I will see you in the next video.